Thursday morning, and thank you for joining us on KSAT News Now. We, of course, are streaming every Monday through Friday right here on KSAT.com, KSAT Plus, and, of course, on YouTube. Don't forget about that. And joining me today is KSAT everything. You do everything here. You produce.
Don't give me that much credit.
Priscilla Cataman, how's it going this morning?
It's good.
Yeah.
It's going well. I was going to say, you forgot to mention the podcast.
Oh, cannot forget about the podcast. Yeah, or else producer Alyssa's going to get on me for that afterwards.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely check that out as well. Like, rate, and subscribe. Hit us up with all that good stuff. Yeah, you can find all this great information there at the podcast or right here on KSAT.com.
And if you're on YouTube, leave some comments.
Yes.
Chat with us. Let us know what you're thinking about some of the stories that we're going to be talking about. There are a lot of them to get into.
Yep.
Here's a quick look at the lineup. We're talking about a story that's going to be affecting us all, really.
Yeah,
the
absolutely.
inflation rate hike that just went up yesterday. We have a new concept for the future of flying, and we also have some Spurs related news to get into. But
yeah.
RJ, you tweeted something yesterday and got a lot of reaction.
I did, yes. A lot of reaction here. Some tears were shed. A lot of memories about this moment in time that we all wish that we could go back to when it comes to the Spurs. But we'll talk about that here in just a little bit. But of course, want to get to obviously some more serious news this morning, starting with the updates on two of the most recent mass shootings in the United States.
Yes, so we're now past the 3-week mark since the shooting unfolded inside Uvalde's Robb Elementary. And this morning, actually right now, a state investigative committee is hearing testimony from law enforcement and elected officials about the circumstances in response to the shooting on May 24th.
That's right. Alicia Barrera is in Uvalde right now, and that is where testimony is taking place. And one thing to note is that this is a closed session. So we're also going to be following 3 more hearings that are scheduled for tomorrow, Monday, and Tuesday. So this is going to be kind of a long set of meetings that are going to be coming up here.
Yes, and then also this morning, another victim has been laid to rest. Funeral services were held for 11-year-old Layla Salazar. Her obituary says that she loved singing, dancing, and the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah.
One song that I know that they referenced in particular was Sweet Child of Mine by Guns N' Roses.
Right.
And they said she would sing that on the way to school with her dad.
Yeah. That is very sad, and of course always heartbreaking to hear. And I think it's important to remember these victims like Layla when we think about everything else that's going on. We've been talking all week about the DPS back and forth with State Senator Gutierrez, but also there are still these services that are taking place. And when you hear these stories about these victims, it is it's still very tough to think about everything that's gone on there.
Yeah, and again, the meetings today, they are closed doors, so we don't actually, know what that testimony is going to be, but hopefully, I don't know that they will, hopefully we will get some sort of update on what's being discussed or what the progress is. So we'll be looking for those.
Yeah, still a lot of things that need to be answered when it comes to the investigation. Okay, so we were talking about the other mass shooting here. So this is, it's hard to believe because this one obviously was something that happened on the other parts of our country, but 10 days before the shooting at Robb Elementary, this other act of terrible violence took place in Buffalo, New York, and that's where 10 black people were killed inside the Top supermarket.
Yes, the attack was carried out by 18-year-old Peyton Gendron. Today he's making his first court appearance on federal hate crime charges, which could carry the death penalty.
That's right. Gendron has been held without bail since the May 14th shooting, and the hate crime charges were filed after documents were found that detailed plans of his attack, including the weapon, body armor, and camera he would use to stream this massacre.
Gendron already faces a mandatory life sentence without parole if he's convicted on charges of domestic terrorism and murder. He has pleaded not guilty. Yeah,
so the shooter there in that case is now going to court. We will continue to follow that. Okay, something we talked about here at the very top, and chances are that you've all heard about this, or at least have been like, what is going on here? We're talking about this crazy interest rate hike, which is the largest in nearly 30 years. And basically, this is aimed at tackling inflation, which is another thing that we're all dealing with. And this is also trying to get the American economy back to track. But for the average consumer, it could mean some pretty tough times ahead.
Yeah, so this rate hike will affect millions of American households and businesses. It's pushing up the cost of borrowing for major purchases. And analysts say it's going to become much more difficult for people who are first-time home buyers looking to get a mortgage right now, or people who are in the market to purchase a car. They're also going to have higher borrowing rates today than they did just 3 months ago.
Yeah, this is some tough news to hear for people that are looking to just kind of buy a house, as we know that this housing market has also gone absolutely bonkers. Also, people who are looking to tap into their retirement accounts, this is important too, may need to rethink about when to retire because many 401k balances are currently down.
And experts say the average consumer shouldn't overextend themselves on credit, and they should try not to borrow money for one-time big purchases like vacations or furniture. So this one happened yesterday. Again, I think it was a 0.75% increase, and it's likely not going to be the last. So they're probably going to be climbing even higher than what they are now. So that'll have really big long-term effects for a lot of Americans, all Americans essentially.
I know, and it really tests just being responsible with your money at the moment, maybe, you know, cutting out certain things here and there. But I think the big point there is that don't get, you know, stuck with these high interest rates, because that, I think, is really the stuff that's going to come back and later get to you. But this again is to try and sort of stabilize our economy. We've seen these grocery prices, everything has gone up. So hopefully this is an effort to do that. As you just mentioned, it's kind of scary to think that this might not be the final increase here. Yeah,
and the one thing that I do want to point out is if they get it right, it should help with the inflation. So if what they intend to do actually plays out well, we should see some of those prices come down, but I don't know what that time frame is, but that is the overall goal here.
Right, definitely. So yeah, we know that this has been something that a lot of people have been discussing. Okay, a lot of people discussing this on social media, and I don't know about this here. Could this be the future of flying? Well, this is an interesting seat design that was designed by, this is a 22-year-old. I found this out. His name is Alejandro Nunez Vicente, and he showcased this new airline lounge seater, whatever thing it is, this concept at the 2022 Aircraft Interiors Expo in Germany.
The prototype features a double-decker style seating arrangement for airplanes. Flyers would access the top level using 2 ladder-like steps, and the passenger behind them could then stretch their legs underneath of that platform.
So Nunez Vicente said that his frustration with the current lack of leg room in these airplanes right now gave him this idea, but he admits that passengers, especially those on the top level, cannot stand upright in the seats. And he also said it was like, oh, it's not like you could do that anyway in current situations, but that's his claim for why he created this whole thing.
I did have some thoughts. I was like, okay, if you're on top and you sneeze, you might sneeze on the person under you, but it looks like there's a sneeze guard built in to kind of help with that. But the designer says there's a space between the levels for travelers to also store their luggage. So big question here is, how do you feel about this?
Sarah's just shaking her head. No, don't like it at all either. I think it's, you don't have enough, what do you call, like face room or something? There's not enough separation from the person's, let's say backside and your face.
And I would feel claustrophobic with it, like
That's exactly what I was going to say, very claustrophobic. That's how I would feel.
So it's a no for you, Sarah?
No, and you bring up a good point there, RJ, about your face is pretty much next to the person's.
Yeah.
Hi.
Hey, there we go.
Yeah, we got a little claustrophobic there.
Okay, dramatic pause.
But if you had to choose, would you choose the top or the bottom level?
The top level.
Yeah.
It's got to be the top level. Probably costs more though.
Yeah, we were thinking that too.
Oh yeah, they're probably going to charge like what, $20 for even just looking at that option, and then another $20 for actually clicking that option.
Ooh,
and then a final $20 for like an assistance to step up there onto that top level.
Interesting.
Goodness.
I don't know if it'll happen, but it'll be interesting. These designs are all just meant to have more people on these flights.
Hey guys, does the like Saharan dust affect you in a certain way?
For me, it does.
Like allergies and that kind of thing?
It has, I've been finding myself, especially, I don't know why, later in the afternoon, getting a little kind of.
Well, that's when, you know, that high pressure is in place. You really feel it. So one thing I want to show you is look outside right now. Okay, that's not clouds. That's just the Saharan dust on the horizon. In fact, we've got clear skies out there, but you can just see the haze there. So the air quality is unhealthy for those who are sensitive to the Saharan dust. Specifically, if you have respiratory issues, COPD, asthma, you're going to want to limit your time outside. Otherwise, the air quality is fine for everyone else. It's just that you're getting those allergy-like symptoms. Now, here's the good news. We do anticipate the dust coming down tomorrow. It's dense out there right now, but it'll come down tomorrow. And then the dust cloud will be very light, if even there at all, over the weekend. So if you have Father's Day plans over the weekend, you won't really have to worry about the dust. Otherwise, we're well on our way to a triple-digit day. It's 87 degrees outside. Winds are from the south at about 10 miles per hour, but we're seeing wind gusts of up to 20 miles per hour out there. And as we take a look at the satellite, this is what I mean by we're dealing with clear skies. You just can see the dust out there. So temperatures are starting to rise. We've already got a couple of readings into the 90s, like out in Castroville, Divine. It's 87 in San Antonio, 88 New Braunfels, and 86 in Bulverde. Yesterday we had a bit of a respite from the triple-digit heat with the additional cloud cover, but as we head into the afternoon, it's just going to be completely sunny, and so we're going to warm up. Here's your KSAT 12-hour forecast. By 2 we'll be at 96, by 3 we'll be at 100, and 101 for the forecast high temperature today. It's going to be hot this afternoon, and even a little bit of a heat index as well before we hit the peak heating of the day. Tonight temperatures will fall into the 80s and it'll be breezy, so like the last few nights, it really won't be all that bad after the sun sets, but this afternoon is going to be hot. 100 in San Antonio, 101 New Braunfels, 101 in Seguin, 101 in Castroville, and upper 90s for the hill country areas like Bernie, Bulverde. Take a look across the nation right now. Fairly quiet as this heat high is the dominant weather factor, but there's one thing I want you to see. Look out toward New Orleans right now. You can see that there's a little bit of rain there in southern Louisiana, and this piece of energy will push into south central Texas tomorrow. So even though the heat high is going to be the big dominant factor, we're still going to be near 100 degrees tomorrow. There is a slight chance, and I mean a slight chance, a measly chance for a stray shower tomorrow during the afternoon hours, only a 10% chance. Hey, that's the best we can do. This time of year, we're counting the 10% chances of rain as a chance for rain, and that's going to be the case tomorrow. Although, as you can see, I mean, we are going to be locked into 100-degree weather over the next several days. Very little to no chance for rain, measly chances for rain. Father's Day, Juneteenth, 100 degrees for the high temperature. Hey, meteorologist Katie Blake and I, we got another Whatever the Weather podcast. This one's all about your user questions, our viewer questions. Take a look.
If you're just a weather enthusiast, where can you learn about weather? Well, this podcast tells you all well about the weather. And then also,
we are doing a fun episode. Well, they're all fun.
All right, let's get to the questions. Cool.
We could be here all day, but we won't. All right. So,
question from Al Williams. I hear a lot about the Saharan dust. What is it, and can it be dangerous? First of all, Al, thanks for listening to us all the way out in Phoenix.
Right, we knocked out the Saharan dust questions 3 in 1.
Boom.
Told you I was going to be from all over the place today.
She wanted only you two to answer this.
Cody asked, what's the hardest thing about being a meteorologist? We say there's a chance for rain. I think in some people's minds that means it's definitely going to rain. It's just not that simple.
I wish y'all could, and y'all can't see what Katie's doing here, so watch the video.
Did they ask, anyone, a local meteorologist, if that was the right thing to say?
We have so much fun,
Yes,
and got to
you
give
guys
a
do.
shout out to the producer of KSAT News Now, who's also the producer of our weather podcast, Alyssa Medina. Give us a shout out, girl. That's her over there. So here's where you can
Applause.
You can listen anywhere you get your podcasts, which is a great option. But especially on KSAT.com, you can actually watch the video. You saw Katie up to her shenanigans there. It's definitely a fun watch too. So give it a watch, give it a listen. Available anywhere you get your podcasts.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Sarah.
absolutely love that you guys have so much fun with that. And it reminds anytime that I've been asked to do any sort of like school or classroom presentation just about KSAT, half of the questions to me are weather questions, and that's just from kids. So I
Awesome.
imagine that you guys just get a ton of emails or questions about any and everything weather.
We do, and on the whatever the weather page, you can actually ask questions there that we like to answer just about every episode. So check it out.
Nice.
Go
Very
get your
cool.
questions answered, guys.
Yeah. Absolutely. Okay, so big news here for former Spurs assistant. We're going to be talking about Spurs in just a little bit, but Becky Hammon, she's got a pretty big honor here.
Yeah, she's actually officially been inducted into the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame's class of 2022. That ceremony did take place this past Saturday in Knoxville, Tennessee.
That's right. Hammon was recognized for her illustrious career in the WNBA and also her time at Colorado State. She was a great college player. Among her many other accolades, she was voted one of the WNBA's 15 greatest players of all time. That was all back in 2011. So big congrats to her. And of course, she's broken barriers as the first full-time female assistant on an NBA team. That would be here with our San Antonio Spurs. And she is really doing a great job in Las Vegas because I think that looking at their record, I just looked it up, they're 12-2. They're like the #1 team in the NBA right now. So for all the people that were saying that Becky should take over for Pop, yeah, maybe there's some proof.
I
You're just
mean,
making a face like,
Because who run the world? Girls.
Yeah, I saw that face and you're like, absolutely. Okay, so the Spurs back in the day used to run the NBA world. Remember those? Those were great times.
Don't say used to. You're going to make people upset here.
So 8 years ago this week, a great moment here in San Antonio and Spurs history. The city absolutely went nuts. There was all sorts of honking all over the place as the Spurs won their 5th title over the Miami Heat. And people have been sharing a lot of their memories online.
Yeah, you put out that tweet and people are just like back a trip down memory lane for them.
Absolutely. So I tweeted out, follow me at KSAT RJ, by the way. I tweeted out that 8 years ago today, the Spurs won the 5th title. The Manu dunk over Chris Bosh. I said this was the loudest that I'd ever heard this building. And then I got a lot of replies here. First one here from Victoria. She said, not to be dramatic, but I would give up my house for Manu Ginobili.
I mean, I like this one from Jay Joseph. He said, if time travel ever happens, I'm going straight here.
Absolutely. And then this other individual here said that he had never had a beer with his dad, but when that play happened, he just grabbed one and his dad kind of gave him a nod like, okay, son, sure, you can have a beer. So that was the first time he'd ever had a beer with his dad. He did say he'd had beers before, but never with his parents. So
Yeah,
it's pretty
yeah.
cool memory there.
I mean, and then I think even somebody from our station was like, oh, she was upset that she missed it because she was stuck in traffic. And she was like, this was the perfect opportunity to
Yeah.
go honking, which, I mean, we've talked
yeah.
about it before, but if you're from San Antonio, that was a big deal
Yeah.
back then.
Yeah. What were you doing 8 years ago this week after the Spurs won that title? What'd you do? Go ahead, share us.
Okay, I'm not.
You're like, I don't want to share.
For that, no, for that particular one, I don't remember, honestly. 8 years
okay.
ago, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
I was already a mom. I was probably at home doing mom things, so.
Celebrating in mom ways.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I remember I was actually covering the game for our sports department, and I had to come back here as the celebration started. So I was working, so it was a bit of a bummer, but I was at least there for most of that game. And Sarah Costa, of course, our awesome anchor, weekend anchor / reporter, she said, she messaged me after with this tweet. She said, pues legend has it, that dunk shook the AT&T Center, and on the anniversary, the building always gives a little shake.
I love that.
I know, that's Sarah's definitely like her humor.
And I love the pues legend.
Pues legend, yeah. Another legend here to San Antonio. Manu's a legend, so yeah. 8 years ago, wow, 2014.
I know.
Where does time go?
We just have to, at some point within the next couple of, hopefully the next season, we're just like, come on.
I know.
Spurs, Jesus, bring us
It's
a win.
boring without them being in the playoffs, and I mean, we have Fiesta going on and everything, but hey, speaking of that, NBA Finals, Game 6 tonight, that's going to be on KSAT 12, so make sure you check that out. Golden State looking to beat Boston in this NBA Finals series.
I do want to mention before we go, the Missions are going to be playing
That is
tonight.
right, yes.
They actually are going to be wearing some Uvalde jerseys tonight, and they're also selling them, and the
Yes,
funds will be
great
going
point.
to
The Rob Memorial Fund.
Yes,
Yeah.
there you go. So if you have free time tonight and there's still tickets available, you might want to get out there and support that cause.
Absolutely. That is a great thing that they're doing, and I believe we're also going to have a crew out there later covering that as well. That is a great point, Priscilla. Well, we are wrapping things up here for your Thursday's KSAT News Now. Hopefully you guys stay cool. If you go to the Missions game, make sure to stay hydrated. Have a great time out there.
Have a good one. Thank you.